Hi, my name is Emily and my student ID number is U3235917. Today I will be doing a self-reflection of the video Ben and I watched in the classroom with Olivia Petskovsky at St. Anthony's Primary School. So I learned that incorporating the knowledge of a child's development into teaching practices is extremely important. I learned that getting through to a class of 25 to 30 students is quite hard in that everyone needs focusing on. Some students may listen very well, some may listen somewhat well, and some might not listen at all. Every child learns at a different learning pace, and that can be hard for teachers to navigate around sometimes. I noticed that in the video quite a bit, as in the teacher's very good at teaching, I reckon, completely. But in general, I think for teachers, it's hard to navigate through, every child. And I learnt that as a kid too. When teachers would be teaching me, it would be hard because I have ADHD, and them trying to navigate through different students and their different learning developments is quite hard. So when I go into my teaching practices, I'm going to account for students' physical development, cognitive development, social and emotional development, and communication development. And I got a lot of these resources from this website called High Speed Training, the in-text reference being SWORD 2020. I'm going to consider trying to focus on all students, giving that reassurance to students to not make them feel left out, because I've noticed when I was younger, or some of my friends when they were younger, they felt a bit left out in terms of putting their hand up and them never being called, or feeling like they can't connect with other students. So I want to try my best to attend to a child's needs and student needs. Not only do parents have to do the emotional regulation and cognitive development associated with that, teachers and practicing teachers such as myself I still need to learn that as well. And I need to learn and understand a child's emotional development and how to help a child emotionally regulate. I'm planning to be set in a primary school learning as a teacher. I mentioned that in assessment 1, and referring to that, I was like, oh my god, teaching kindergartens, year ones, that's so easy. You just teach them ABCs. It's so much more to that. When I was in my foundation of mathematical learning, my teacher had taught me that students would go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. But a lot of students don't know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 even means. They might know how to recite it, but they don't know what it means. And that's the same with how the teacher enunciated words in the video. They would go let's just say, follow. I follow behind you. And I found that quite interesting because you have to use all these mannerisms. So yeah, I think that can be pretty difficult. So I got some of that information from Raising Children Network 2023. Some children may have learning developments that you don't see so early because they're still very young, but you may notice things like fidgeting or not paying attention. I did that when I was very young, and they could be learning somewhat slower than other students, which is not a bad thing, just they might need to be taught in a different way. So that's one thing I want to keep in mind, and that I feel like in my first assessment, I was just like, oh, this is going to be easy. This is something I can do, but I got to really account for everything. So another thing is keeping the class entertained, mostly at times to keep everyone on point, using that soft childlike voice to help the students understand, but also keeping them intrigued and concentrated at the same time. I got some of my information off Virtual Lab School 2023, and I noticed that in the video, she keeps the students concentrated. She opens the bag, she gives them the passport, the boarding pass, and she's like, what's this? You got to keep the children intrigued, and that's something I realized you got to do too, because then their mind wanders off. There's also many things I didn't know, such as physical development, which Ben was explaining, that it was very interesting to know that teachers will get students to sit a certain way to protect their back, because students may not understand that at this time in their life that it protects their back. So learning from the whole unit compared to when I recorded my first assessment video, it's not as easy as it seems to teach young kids. In a way, it can be harder teaching, let's say, year 1s to year 6s, because year 6s at some point learn quicker. And then year 1s like take time to learn and need to know how to learn, honestly. So this is how we all learn growing up. This is how we're able to take care of a child's development. So there are more understandings on topics now rather than 10 years ago. Everything learnt in this unit has supported my change of thought over time, and it can be more challenging than I even thought. Thank you for listening.